I've recently, yet again, developed the urge to get my life together, to get my life back on track. And as time goes on with this revived desire, it feels like I'm stacking or wanting to stack too much on my plate. And I think it's only because I want my life to look so much different than how it is right now. But I come across a slight predicament. I've been in this situation before. I've wanted to change my whole life. It never really stuck. So I just want to take some time to figure out how and why it would stick this time. I don't even feel overwhelmed, but I just know that based on the past, eventually I'm going to fall back to baseline and we're going to start all over again. And it's just like I lose that zest to get my life together. And then we end up back here. I just want to know if I can trust myself this time to follow through. In the past, I've gotten my insurance license, bought a course on copywriting, quit my job to pursue what I thought was going to be this winning moment in life where I finally get what I want. Oh my gosh, I moved to San Diego, started to pursue a sales career like all over the place. I guess the main thing that is good that I've kept consistent is my willingness to keep going, even though all my past major life changes failed. I'm still going at it, and that's admirable. Like, I can be proud of myself for honestly being here in this position. So then the next question would just be, what happened? What happened each time that made me slowly drift away, slowly lose my spark? First thing that comes to mind is just like, maybe it wasn't the right fit. Maybe that version of me wasn't ready to pursue that specific path. Or I could have been ready if I just pushed through and I kept my focus on that specific area. If I really wanted to get into sales, I would have stuck with it instead of 3-4 months in deciding like, I don't think this is for me. I think for sure that could have been a possibility where I can will myself through an undesirable path that I first thought I wanted. And it's for sure a possibility I could have succeeded if I continued. But I'm 80% sure if I did that, I feel like I would have hated my life. Part of me thinks that. Another part of me thinks that I could have succeeded and had all the things that I desired and just kept work as work and not really something personal, I guess. That's getting into another question, like, should my career be strictly a job? Or should it have some personality, some fulfillment? I don't know, that's a question for another day. How do I know if I can trust myself? Because I know I am a different person now. I just want to know what gaps I have that I still need to fill. but that'll only become clear to me as I move forward. And so going into doing it, there needs to be, I guess, daily or moment to moment criteria. I should ask myself, by doing this action, am I being who I want to be? Genuinely? Or am I not? Part of me feels like I'm building a sculpture out of clay, starting from nothing. And another part of me feels like I'm making a sculpture out of marble, starting from something and chiseling it down. I feel like balance is the answer. Knowing that if I go at full speed, eventually I'm gonna reach an equilibrium where it's gonna be like I'm forcing this change, while the familiar me, the habitual me that acts normal is just so overpowering. Whereas if I implement these changes slowly, my system won't get temperature shock, environment shock. Condition shock. Still haven't answered the question though. How do I know that I'll stick to it? That's a big question. I think it all comes down to like, if I'm committed to a life that I'm proud of, a life that I enjoy, versus if I'm just on autopilot and subconsciously committed to these temporary pleasures of sleeping in, eating whatever, having more attention to my phone than the present. So I think the answer really comes down to not just my identity, but whether or not my human, my nervous system wants to listen, wants to obey. And I think it's just repetition that I need. Repetition, consistency, because I feel like I'm confident in the fact that I've been able to change aspects of myself and have it stick, have it become normal to me. Not out of force, not out of urgency, but out of constantly going back to what I think is true for myself whenever I find myself astray. Being compassionate enough to myself to lead me back to lead myself back to center, no matter how far I go off. The moment I become aware of my displacement, my imbalance, my misalignment, I accept it, and I slowly guide myself back. That's what has worked for me in the past. So it has to work for me moving forward.